Today, we're speaking about the 5 levels of peace. And by the end of this video, I'm going to give you not only the understanding, but also a deep subconscious reprogramming session to rewire any limiting belief that is making you feel unsafe inside of your body. Because if we want to feel peace in our bodies and share that peace with the world, we first need to rewire any blocks that make us feel unsafe. So the 5 levels of peace are the following. First, we have the heart, then we have the body, then we have the mind, then we have the present moment, and finally we have life itself. And you can go through these 5 levels, leveling up, feeling more and more peaceful and joyful every single day. And I'm going to show you how you can do that right now. Quick backstory of my struggle before and after, and how I actually found this peace in my body. I tried a lot of inner work and shadow work, and I was doing a lot of journaling and prompts. I was going to yoga and I was meditating every single day. I was eating healthy, exercising, going to the sauna, doing ice baths. I was really active. But whenever I would journal, I was living in Bali, I remember, and it would have some sort of release, like I would feel safe. But then something would happen later on that day or later on that night that would make me feel jumpy again, or my mind would start overthinking, and then I couldn't feel peace. So I remember this big test because I moved to Bali on my own, and it was during 2020. So all of the island closed out, and let's say 100 feet away from me, there was a construction where they were workers that were sleeping and working there every day for a couple of months. And I was on my own, close to a rice field. And I kept hearing these stories of, the people in Bali right now don't have that much money. And I started hearing some stories about robbing, like tourists in houses. And at night, I had to deal with this inner demon of like, I don't feel safe still. I can't be at peace because I don't feel safe. And my mind would always worry. And sometimes even the tiniest noises in Bali, I would be, super hypervigilant or worried. And I'd be like, what's that? And maybe it was just like a farmer in the rice field, but my whole nervous system was so activated in such fight or flight that I was not at peace. So even when I was doing all of those things. And I started thinking, all right, JP, what is going on here? Do you need to go deeper? Is there something that you need to rewire, perhaps at a deep subconscious level? And I started to do a couple of meditations. I started to do some energy therapies, and I started working on releasing trapped emotions and learning to rewire limiting beliefs. And one of the first beliefs that came up for me was, I am not safe. And that belief was operating in my subconscious mind. And I was like, interesting. So I guided myself through a session that you guys will experience, and there's a memory that comes up. And I was like, 3, 2, 1, think about the memory or receive that memory now. And so I did. And the memory that I got is me around 12 or 13 years old, living with my family, living in my house. And whenever I would be sleeping, even on vacations, when you're a kid, you tend to wake up later than 8 or 9 a.m. My dad would come into the room, and I'll never forget this, and he would knock so hard on my door. He would be like, up, 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 time to wake up. This is not a hotel. And he did that 5 out of the 7 days of the week whenever I was on vacation. And I received so much fear that I was like, I am not safe. Like my mind created this relationship. I'm not safe. And I started to have insomnia. I couldn't really sleep because imagine when you're sleeping, you're in the most vulnerable state, right? You could be killed by a predator if there was. And I was like, wow, that's where this belief is coming from. So as I learned how to rewire that limiting belief of I am not safe, it took me years to realize that I needed to go deeper than breathwork, shadow work, and yoga and meditation. And that's what you're going to be able to experience in this session. Below this YouTube video, I'm going to link you a session that I recorded where you can rewire that limiting belief and unlock these beautiful states of more peace in your body, in your heart, and in your mind. And so when I did that, the workers were still there. It was like a purging of this fear, I'm not safe. And then I started to even become friends with them. And I would bring them some fruits or some juices or some waters. And they started smiling and we created this really cool relationship. And then after that 2-month period, my landlord, the guy who owned the apartment, he said that all of the workers already knew him and that I was always like safe in his protection per se, because they knew each other. And I was like, wow, that's crazy that only now am I learning this after I had to go through that process and that test of, can you actually feel safe even in these really weird conditions in Bali on your own? And that was really cool. And so weeks passed by, I started to go on my motorcycle, my little motorcycle, and I was going into different towns and different volcanoes and different places in nature. And I started to realize that I needed to find true self-acceptance to feel peace. I started to realize that inside of me, there were two characters, two different masters that I could serve. One of the masters was the false master, which is the ego, the inner critic, and the other one is my true self, which is connected to God. It's this. And so that true self is that voice that always loving, peaceful, freedom, powerful, abundant. And so as I rewired these limiting beliefs, I started to accept a little bit more of myself, a little bit more of my true nature, of love, of abundance, of freedom. And I started to feel peace in my heart. And that started to permeate my heart and my mind, started to create coherence. And I started to send this message into my body, into my cells. I am safe now. I am safe now. And because my subconscious believed that now, because I did the rewiring, it was like, yes, that's congruent, that's aligned. My subconscious mind also knows that I am safe. And so I shifted, I started to think and feel in ways that would align with a person that felt safe and secure inside their bodies. And then that shifted the way that I acted, the way that I behaved. And so more and more, I found peace in my mind. And then came one of the final challenges, which is the present moment. And I used to always reject the present moment and treat it as a means to an end. And I would retreat back into my mind to thinking, I'm bored, I don't want to go through traffic, I don't want to do my habits, I just want to rush through them, and I do not want to accept the present moment as is. And so my mind created this fake house in the future and a fake house in the past where I would go to ruminate or to predict and worry and stress. And this would be the gap that didn't allow me to feel at peace, because I can only live in the present moment, but my mind wanted me to live in the future. That is the gap of stress between present and future. And then we have another gap between the past and the present. So if I am in the past, if I live in the past, first of all, I'm not here. And second of all, I'm going to create depression and sadness for myself. That's what the gap represents. And that's when I realized, wait a minute, I can't keep running away from the present moment. The present moment is life itself. And I was like, wow, what if I deepen my relationship with the present moment? What if I honor the relationship with the present moment? And that's when I found out these incredible, beautiful books of Edgar Tolle, A New Earth and the Power of Now. And this guy is a master of presence, of the ego, and living a life of true inner peace. And I started to train myself every day. You need to go back to the present moment. The present moment is all there is. And I went through this transformation of non-acceptance of the present and what is, into embracing and accepting the present moment and actually loving it and finding peace, because I valued more my peace than drama and the external world. So if you want to build a strong, firm foundation on the rock of truth, you need to start by first accepting yourself, rewiring this belief, and then accepting the present moment and feeling truly like you belong here. And you can do this. I would highly recommend that you buy this book to start with, so that you can start retraining yourself to live with presence, with love, and with power. So when you combine the books and you combine the subconscious work, you create what I call true inner mastery. And imagine If you just commit to this process over the next 30 to 45 days, a month and a half, and every day you decide to practice presence, to read this book, to do the sessions, to rewire the limiting beliefs, which you only need to do it once really. If you do this, if you commit to this, you're going to really create a quantum leap in your identity. And looking back, you're going to be like so blown away of how many years you could have saved of work, of inner work, shadow work, and healing, and how you could just quantum leap into this beautiful level of presence and inner peace. So the way that you can start applying this right now is go watch the session that I have put in the link below. Is the one that says erase money or safety blocks. You can listen to that session and let me know in the comments how you find it. You're going to feel way more peaceful instantly in 30 minutes or less. Start there, get the book, and start practicing presence every day. This is your checklist, my friend. It's an honor and a pleasure to serve you today. I'll see you on the next one.